this is not a story about a gun. It was an early Christmas morning when my whole host family was waking up and just running around doing some chores. My host mom was in charge of cooking the soup, my host dad was filling the bowls with the soup, and we, together with the kids, were in charge of putting the bowls into the coolers and into the bags. So you might think that those were just regular Christmas preparations, but those were much more. We were going to downtown St. Louis to feed the homeless people. So while we were in the car, I was full of thoughts. So this was my very first time ever being so much in touch with the homeless. I had seen homeless people before, but this was the first time ever talking to them and giving them something to eat. And I didn't know how they were going to react, because I used to think that they will be really stressed, they will feel sorry, or I don't know. So I was really messed up in my head, and we were suddenly approaching to the place. So the car stopped right in front of the St. Louis Old Courthouse. And as I was sitting all the way in the back of the car, I had to wait for everyone else to get off first. So I was slowly approaching to the front of the car, and I suddenly noticed my host dad pulling out something from underneath his seat. I looked again, like really carefully, and I saw that it was a gun. For a moment, I was shocked. I didn't know what to do, how to react, what was it for, and I was just shocked. So I just dared to ask him, what is that for? So he explained me that St. Louis is one of the most dangerous cities in the United States, if I'm not mistaken, the fourth one. And this is always a good idea to be protected. So his explanation, of course, was not enough for me to forget about the existence of the gun, but I just had to catch up with the rest of the family. So we were walking for a couple of minutes already when we first found the very first person that we were going to help. I still remember him. It was an old man sitting on a bench under a tree. He had a really warm coat, but it was a dirty one. And then looking down, I could see him wearing a pair of torn up pants. And then when we got closer, I could clearly see his face. He had really big and expressive eyes, and he had a long beard coming down from his chest. But then I was scared to go first. So my host mom took the initiative, and she approached him, starting with the holiday congratulations. Then she asked how is he doing and whether or no he needs anything. But it looked like the man was too shy to ask for something, but that was our mission, so we were supposed to give him a bowl of soup. So I was about to pull a bowl of soup from my bag, and then for that moment, I just remembered about something. I looked back, and my host dad was standing right behind me, having his hand in his pocket, and I definitely know what was in his pocket. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know how he was going to use it. He was going to use it or not. So I was just standing there, but then I was like, okay, this man is waiting for the soup. So I just pulled that and forgot about my fears and just gave it to him. He took the bowl, he looked inside, and then he threw his eyes back on me. And then he was like, thank you. For that moment, I realized that he was happy. And then after this man, we approached for more than 50 people in the same park, and all of them were different. They were couples, families, old men, women, everyone. But one thing was common in them. All of them were really, really thankful for what we have done, and all of them were open for a conversation with someone. And after this stressful day, we went back home, and I thought that it was the perfect time for me to lay back on my bed and just think about this. So just for your information, no one was hurt that day and everyone was fine. But what this gave me to think of is much more deeper. So having grown up in a growing, developing country like Armenia, I have seen a lot of homeless people. And what I can see by comparing Armenian and US cultures is that both of us treat homeless people really, really aggressively. So we think that living outside makes people wild and angry to the rest of the world, which in some cases may be the case. But then we should not forget that these people don't live outside because they wish to. Life has treated them badly, and we cannot let them go down even deeper. So what can we do is just by showing just a little bit of attention, just by when we cross the street, why don't we just greet them or just give them a piece of cookie, anything that can make them feel happy. And at this exact moment, we will feel that we have helped our neighbor, our community, our country, and the world as a whole. And as I told, this is not a story about the gun.